Hey everyone, today we're joined with Anna Andres, who is a solutions architect at Stripe. He'll be talking all about stablecoins and how to accept crypto payments with Stripe. So welcome Anna, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Alison.
Yeah, and you'll be giving a meetup talk later today all about enabling crypto, both from a pay-ins perspective and a payouts perspective. So for the developers out there who are wondering, how are stablecoins kind of changing the way developers should be thinking about global money movement?
So I would say that what's happening with the stablecoins is that in the current status of things are the payment rails, the money movement rails, it's not with sort of purpose for, I would say, businesses that want to go global. So what stablecoins is bringing to the table is the ability to do things like settlement, immediate settlement, so fast settlement, having liquidity immediately, which is very important for businesses. I would say as well, it's global by design, so they can actually access cross-border transactions with no problems. It's also very cost-effective. So from all the rails that are out there, anybody who has tried to do some transfer abroad, they hit immediately with cross-border fees or FX fees, or like trying to change from one currency to another. That doesn't exist with stablecoins. And the fourth one, and I think this is the one that is important for all our developers, is that they are programmable. So in fact, they run on the blockchain, and that is a technology that is being fit for APIs and developers.
Yeah, I can see how it really helps with speed of transactions. And you mentioned the complexity of global money movement and how developers have to all, kind of think global by default. What are some of the challenges that companies are facing that you're working with when it comes to kind of broadly moving money globally cross borders?
I mean, this is not that it's a challenge per se. The rails are old, and building on top of them is difficult. That is the reason why Stripe exists. We are trying to make that seamless. But on top of that, because the rails are not suitable, stablecoins becomes like the natural alternative. But blockchain technology is not simple. So if a developer wanted to start from scratch, trying to find out how to, develop a wallet, then orchestrate how the stablecoins could work with them, how actually the capital will be pegged to the stablecoin, that would be actually quite complex, more beyond actually technology. And that is why Stripe has decided to expand and acquire companies like Bridge or Privy, who are the top-notch on the world of stablecoins, to be able to embrace that technology and incorporate it on Stripe, so that developers don't find any friction when they're starting to develop in that environment, which is a normal product that wants to try, using stablecoins to enlarge their capacity to expand globally.
That's a great point. And I think global money movement is one aspect, leveraging blockchain, but now you've mentioned Stripe and our infrastructure and the solutions that we can help with things like accepting crypto payments. Can you walk us through how Stripe is enabling some of those use cases today for businesses?
So I would say the starting point is people are using cryptocurrencies. So it should be like almost out of the box that somebody these days would be able to accept stable coins as a way of payment. With Stripe, even already today, you are able to pay in cryptocurrency, which from the perspective of a developer, it means that you simply use cryptocurrencies as another payment method. So the same way you would go and, do cards or do bank transfers, you go to the dashboard, you switch on cryptocurrency, and at that stage, on your surfaces, there where you're offering payments, you're offering the ability to actually get USDC. That is one-to-one to dollars. So not the fact that you are actually giving them the option to pay with cryptocurrency doesn't mean in this case that you have to hold it. You could have maybe somebody paying in crypto, in this case for the stablecoin in dollars, and then you will receive the amount in dollars in your account.
Okay, so this is something that you're able to just configure through your Stripe dashboard, depending on how you've integrated with Stripe.
Exactly, and no coding, additional coding, we're going to say, on top of anywhere.
Okay, great. And is this something you can kind of walk us through?
Yes, sure. So normally, if you had actually opened a Stripe account, you would clearly be able to create some kind of dashboard. Our dashboard, you might have seen this in some of the of the merchants out there. It's very recognizable. It's allowing you to get euros in this case because we are in Ireland, and dollars. So this is the dollar account. As soon as I put the dollar, I will see, like in any other case, that the payment methods change to something that is suitable for somebody paying in dollars. In this case, as you can see here, I haven't activated any kind of stablecoin payment. Well, I can simply go to my dashboard. So this is the account that actually is linked to that checkout session, and I can go down to cryptocurrency. That's what any developer is going to see. Now this is a payment method in itself, and I can enable it. And as soon as I enable it, I can reload this session, and it will appear here. And this is Stripe is very well known because we are able to allow any developer to start testing this technology with actually even creating an account. You can go online and basically create a sandbox. And this is actually using the sandbox. And you can operate as in this experience. And you will see, let's say as you can see, it will actually redirect to a landing page where you'll be able to offer automatically your customers all the different payment wallets from crypto. Let's choose crypto.com, and we can simulate that we go through a payment. And of course, each crypto wallet is different. That's already handled for you. You don't have to care about this. In this case, we're just simulating it. And when this is done, the payment will come back and say that has been successful. There it goes. And from the perspective of your account, just like any other payment, you will go to the transactions, and the same way you can have here the payment method as a card, you will see here that they have been actually paid by crypto. And in terms of your balance, that is the money that you receive, despite the fact that it was paid in cryptocurrency, you will see your balance as dollars.
Okay, great. So it simulates the same experience as any other payment method type, like a card, for example, and it's all just configurable through your Stripe account.
Yeah, and there's where the balance will go into the dollar.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for showing us. And I think another question that comes up of mind, you mentioned pay-ins, payouts, but the concept of just cross-border money movement more broadly. What are some of the use cases that you're starting to see surface when it comes to businesses leveraging stablecoins for cross-border money movement?
So traditionally, we were seeing two main use cases. That was basically the ability to do payouts to individuals in the creative industry, notably marketplaces that might actually aggregate marketing people from different places in the world, and in countries that paying directly through a fiat is very cumbersome, then they would be more than gladly to get that money in dollars. So stablecoins was the natural fit for there. The second use case that we see is more technical. It comes into money remittance. So companies whose main business is basically allowing repatriate money. Let's say we have somebody in the United States that would like to actually send money home to their parents. If their parents live in a country where it's difficult to reach money to, or in a country, let's say Argentina, where most of the people prefer to receive money in dollars and not in the local currency because of the instability, it's always more difficult using fiat. It's a lot of friction, very costly. And then stablecoins, again, was a very suitable fit. However, for developers, what I would say that is coming up lately is that in the new era of artificial intelligence, there are a lot of new startups that are trying to look for new monetization means and understand that they need or require the ability to start charging their APIs at API usage. And this, in the current status with the current way of doing payments, is quite costly because either people pre-fund a wallet that they spend on and then they have to stop, or basically these companies take the risk to allow people to use their APIs at a cost and maybe afterwards invoicing. With stablecoins, what happens, precisely because of the speed, real time, and the cost, is that we are in a position where we can start to do micropayments at real time. And what we're doing is a new use case that is appearing where these kind of companies that sell API calls, they can cost them at individual call and charge at the same time. And they're using something like Tempo or a blockchain to be able to get paid.
Okay, so now because of its capability to be extremely fast, that it's able to open up micropayments capabilities at scale.
Correct. And then that makes any company that is selling part of the infrastructure or a service that is very granular to start having something like usage-based billing, where they can be to the second understanding how much they are charging and actually letting their users to be able to pay constantly without having to break that experience if their wallet finishes or if they feel that they are actually too much in debt.
Okay, now, yeah, I can start to see how this will start to become very interesting for developers looking to build out kind of their own stablecoin strategies within their different use cases. And then there's one thing that we recently launched, stablecoin-backed financial accounts. In the world of kind of companies looking to figure out their own stablecoin strategy, where does this kind of come into play? And what are you starting to hear?
So there's an aspect of any large company. I understand for a developer that is just starting up might not be in their mindset, but as you want to grow, which is optimization of your treasury. So you might have different business units, you might have different basically business in different countries, and you want to operate your cash in an efficient way. At the moment, doing that is quite cumbersome. It's not really automated. More financial teams basically do treasury quite manually. And then it comes at a high cost. What stablecoins is allowing is to start having this ability to even decide to issue your own stablecoins or coins that are represented on your ecosystem to back against your own treasury and capital. And then allow basically the movement to be done on the blockchain. This comes, again, the same thing. Liquidity is key here. So the ability to be able to start paying specifically to people immediately, the ability to actually understand where your capital is at a glance without actually having to do a lot of manual work. And then some companies might even consider that if they have issued some stable coins and they're large enough, they can actually even allow other companies to use their own stable coins and their own capital for whatever reasons.
Okay, wow, yeah, I can see how interesting of a space this will be when it comes to enabling just the ability to program out different use cases. So thank you. Okay, and last one for you. What should devs be doing now to get ready for widespread adoption of stablecoin?
So if I was a developer and I got given at least the challenge to start designing or implementing some kind of new product, new service, the first thing I would do for sure, and if they haven't done it yet, is separating clearly pricing from money movement in completely different concerns, so that if ever the money movement should evolve or change, they can easily do it without actually having to break their own product and pricing strategy. Namely because, and this is happening now with basically the OpenAIs and Anthropics of the world, they started with certain pricing approach, and then they are looking into changing this and trying to do like real-time pricing. So with different concerns, it's easy to actually change the module that wouldn't likely be managed by somebody like Stripe to move from fiat and traditional billing to something more based in stable coins. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, to do that, definitely you have to learn. So I would recommend that they definitely start doing some digging and testing. Stable coins for Stripe have started in the States. Even if they are not based in the States, I would recommend that they open a sandbox as a state, like a United States company, and they start playing with it. Because the same APIs, the same solution, the same architecture that we are using on our products over there will be moved into Europe and as well into the UK. And with that, they can start thinking about how they would design their solutions.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Anna, for joining us, and we look forward to hearing your talk later this evening.
Thank you very much, Alison.